Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's English learning session. I'm really excited to share this topic with you because it's something that changed the way I and so many of my students learn English. Today, we're going to talk about how to create an English environment in your daily life, a topic that's incredibly important but often ignored by learners. Let me start with a story about a student of mine named Lily. Lily studied English for 3 years in a traditional classroom. She memorized grammar rules, learned new words every day, and scored well on tests. But when she met a foreign tourist who asked for directions, she froze. She knew the words to say, "The museum is on Main Street," but she couldn't put them together. Later, she told me, "I only use English in class. It feels like a subject, not a language I can use in real life." Does that sound familiar? Many of us think English only belongs in classrooms with textbooks or teachers. But here's the truth. If you only use English for an hour a week in class, your progress will always be slow. Fluency doesn't come from memorizing. It comes from making English a natural part of your daily life. The secret to becoming comfortable with English is to wrap it around your small, everyday moments. When you wake up, when you commute, when you cook, even when you brush your teeth. You don't need to live in London or New York to do this. You don't need native speakers around you. All you need is to turn ordinary moments into English moments. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll walk through exactly how to do that, step by step, with simple, actionable ideas and stories of learners who've done it themselves. By the end, you'll have a clear plan to build your own English environment, starting today. Part 1. Why an English environment matters more than you think. Let's start with the most basic question. Why is an English environment so important? Let's look at how children learn language, because they're the best at it. Think about my neighbor's 4-year-old son, Tommy. Tommy's parents don't teach him grammar or make him memorize word lists. Instead, Tommy hears English every day. His mom sings English nursery rhymes while making breakfast. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. His dad plays English cartoons for him after school, Peppa Pig, and they read him simple English picture books before bed, Good Night Moon. After 6 months, something amazing happened. Tommy started saying small English phrases without anyone teaching him. He'd point to the moon and say, "Moon bright." He'd ask for milk and say, "Milk, please." He didn't know he was learning. He was just using the language he heard around him. That's the power of an environment. It lets you learn without trying. Your brain gets used to the sounds, the rhythm, and the way words fit together, until English feels less like a foreign language and more like something you know intuitively. As adult learners, we can't go back to being 4 years old, but we can copy this idea. Let's take another example. My friend Mark, who learned English in a small city in China with no native speakers. Mark loved basketball, so he started watching NBA games in English with Chinese subtitles at first. He followed English basketball blogs, joined an online fan group where people talked about games in English, and even named his basketball Jordan after Michael Jordan. After a year, Mark could talk about basketball in English for 20 minutes straight, something he never thought possible before. He said, "English isn't a class for me now. It's how I talk about the thing I love." An English environment does 3 key things for you. First, it helps you think in English instead of translating from your native language. When you see a cup of coffee, you'll start to think coffee instead of your native word for it. Second, it builds confidence because when you use English every day, Speaking to a tourist or writing an email feels less scary. Third, it makes learning fun. When English is tied to things you enjoy, like basketball, cooking, or music, you want to practice more without feeling like it's work. So forget the idea that you need a special environment to learn English. Your home, your phone, your daily routine. These are all the tools you need. Now let's talk about how to use them. Part 2. Transforming your devices into English learning tools. Let's start with something you use every single day, your phone and computer. These devices are with you when you wake up, when you commute, and when you go to bed. So why not turn them into your personal English teachers? My student Zhang Wei tried this last year, and it changed his learning. Before, Zhang Wei's phone was set to his native language. He used it to chat with friends, check the news, and play games, all in his first language. One day, I told him to switch his phone language to English. He was nervous at first. What if I can't find the settings? He asked. I told him, that's part of the learning. You'll figure it out. The first week was hard. Zhang Wei spent 10 minutes looking for "Surajur" settings because he didn't recognize the word settings on his screen. He accidentally turned off his notifications because he didn't know what the word meant. But by the second week, things got easier. He started seeing words like settings, notifications, battery, and storage every time he used his phone. He didn't have to memorize them. He just recognized them after seeing them 10, 20, 30 times. After a month, Zhang Wei noticed a difference. When he went to buy a new phone case, he told the shopkeeper, I need a case with more storage for my charger. A sentence he never would have said before, because he'd learned storage from his phone. When his friend asked why he wasn't replying to messages, he said, my notifications were off. Another word he picked up without studying. You can do the same with your computer, tablet, or even your smart TV. Switch the language to English and let the words sink in. If you use social media like WeChat, Instagram, or TikTok, switch those to English too. Zhang Wei did this with his WeChat. His friends' posts started showing up in English, had a great dinner with friends. Watching a movie tonight. He learned casual phrases like hang out from a post that said hanging out with my sister, and catch up from catching up on work this weekend. Phrases that textbooks rarely teach, but that native speakers use every day. You can go even further with apps. If you use a navigation app like Google Maps, switch it to English. When you're walking to the supermarket, the app will say, turn right at the next corner, or you've arrived at your destination. Simple, useful sentences you'll remember. If you play games on your phone, like Candy Crush or Pokemon, switch the game language to English. You'll learn words like level, score, and reward without thinking. The best part? This takes no extra time. You're already using your phone and computer. You're just making them work for your English. As Zhang Wei said, I'm not studying when I use my phone now. I'm just living, and English is part of it. Part 3. Filling your ears with English, everywhere, every day. Next, let's talk about listening. Most of us have dead time every day, time when we're doing something that doesn't need our full attention, like commuting to work, cooking dinner, cleaning the house, or exercising. This is the perfect time to fill your ears with English, and it's one of the easiest ways to build your environment. Take my student Li Mei, for example. Li Mei is a nurse who works 12-hour shifts, so she doesn't have much time for formal English study. But she loves cooking, so she started listening to English food podcasts while she makes dinner. At first, she chose short podcasts 10 to 15 minutes, with simple topics like how to make a perfect omelet or easy breakfast ideas. She didn't understand every word. She couldn't catch words like simmer, to cook slowly, or chop, to cut food into small pieces at first. But she kept listening because she loved the recipes. After 2 weeks, Li Mei started to notice things. She heard the word simmer 3 times in 1 week and finally asked herself, what does that mean? She looked it up, and the next time she made soup, she thought, I need to simmer this for 10 minutes, using the word in real life. She heard chop when the podcast host said, chop the onions into small pieces, and the next day, she chopped onions while saying, I'm chopping onions out loud. Soon, Li Mei started listening to English in other dead times. She listened to English pop songs like Ed Sheeran's Shape of You while she walked to work. She listened to short English audiobooks like Charlotte's Web while she cleaned her apartment. After 3 months, she could understand most of what she heard, and she even started talking about recipes with her foreign colleague, Sarah. Sarah said, your English is so much better. You sound more natural. Li Mei laughed and said, I have to thank my cooking podcasts. The key here is to choose content you enjoy. If you don't like podcasts, listen to audiobooks. If you don't like audiobooks, listen to English radio like BBC Learning English, which has slow, clear programs for learners. If you like music, listen to English songs. Even if you don't understand all the lyrics, you'll get used to the rhythm of the language. You don't need to understand everything. The goal is to let your brain get used to the sound of English. Think of it like learning to swim. You don't need to know every stroke at first. You just need to get in the water. Over time, you'll start to feel the language, and words and phrases will stick in your head without you trying. Part 4. Reading not just books, but the world around you. When we talk about reading in English, most people think of thick novels or boring textbooks. But reading doesn't have to be hard. You can read small, simple pieces of English every day, while you eat breakfast, while you wait for the bus, or while you drink coffee. The more you read these small bits, the more words and phrases you'll pick up. Let's talk about my friend Wong Tao, who runs a small grocery store. Wong Tao never liked reading English books. He said they were too long and too hard. But he started reading the English labels on the products he sold. He sold imported milk, so he read the label, low-fat milk, expiration date, October 15th. He sold chocolate bars, so he read, milk chocolate, made in Belgium. He sold bottles of water, so he read, spring water, no added sugar. At first, Wong Tao only recognized a few words, milk, chocolate, water. But after a week, he started noticing new words. He saw low fat and thought, that means not much fat. He saw expiration date and realized, that's when the milk goes bad. He saw made in Belgium and learned the name of a new country. He started writing these words down in a small notebook, just 1 or 2 a day. After a month, Wong Tao went to a cafe downtown. He looked at the English menu and thought, I know these words. He saw latte he'd seen on a coffee bottle label, croissant he'd sold croissants in his store, and sandwich he knew that from TV. He ordered a latte and a croissant, his first time ordering in English, and the barista smiled and said, coming right up. Wong Tao felt proud. He said, I didn't need to read a big book. I just read the things I see every day. You could do this too. Read the English headlines on your phone. Many news apps have English versions. Read the English posts on your social media feed. even if they're just short sentences like beautiful day. Read the labels on your shampoo bottle, shampoo for dry hair, or your cereal box, high in fiber. Read the signs in your neighborhood, no parking or open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you do want to read longer pieces, try graded readers, books written specifically for English learners. They have simple words and short sentences, and they tell fun stories, like fairy tales or adventure stories. My student Xiao Yu loves graded readers. She reads one chapter every night before bed. She said, I used to think reading English was impossible. Now I look forward to it because I want to know what happens next in the story. Reading small, everyday things is great because it's easy to fit into your routine. You don't need to set aside an hour. You can read a label while you eat breakfast or a headline while you wait for the bus. Every little bit adds up, and before you know it, you'll be reading more complex things without even noticing. Part 5. Speaking to yourself. The most underused secret to fluency. Here's a tip that sounds strange at first, but it's one of the most powerful ways to build confidence and think in English. Speak to yourself. Yes, you read that right. Talk out loud to yourself in English, even when no one is listening. My student Chun Yu was shy about speaking English. She was afraid of making mistakes, so she never spoke in class. One day, I told her to try speaking to herself while she did chores. She thought I was crazy, but she tried it anyway. The first thing she did was talk to herself while brushing her teeth. She looked in the mirror and said, I'm brushing my teeth, up and down, left and right. My teeth are clean now. It felt silly at first, but she kept doing it. The next day, she talked to herself while making tea. I'm boiling water. Now I'm putting tea leaves in the cup. The water is hot. Be careful. After a week, Chun Yu noticed something. She was starting to think in English. When she saw a bird outside her window, she didn't think of her native word for bird first. She thought bird. When she was late for work, she thought, I'm late. I need to hurry, instead of translating from her native language. She started doing more. She pretended to order food in a restaurant. Hello, I'd like a bowl of noodles, please. With vegetables, no meat. She pretended to introduce herself to a new friend. Hi, my name is Chun Yu. I like reading and cooking. Nice to meet you. She even talked to her cat in English. Mimi, are you hungry? Do you want some food? After 2 months, Chun Yu raised her hand in class for the first time. The teacher asked, Who can tell me about their weekend? Chun Yu stood up and said, I stayed at home. I cooked dinner and watched a movie. It was a good weekend. Her voice was small at first, but when the teacher said, Excellent, Chun Yu, she smiled. After class, she told me, speaking to myself made me feel like I could speak to real people. I wasn't afraid anymore. Speaking to yourself works because it's a safe way to practice. You don't have to worry about being judged or making mistakes. No one is listening except you. It helps you get used to the sound of your own voice in English, and it trains your brain to think in English instead of translating. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Talk to yourself while you walk to work. The sun is shining today. The trees are green. I see a dog. Talk to yourself while you fold laundry. This is my shirt. It's blue. I need to fold it neatly. Talk to yourself while you plan your day. First, I'll go to the supermarket. Then, I'll cook lunch. In the afternoon, I'll study English. Start small, just 1 or 2 sentences at a time. As you get more comfortable, you can talk for longer. Before you know it, speaking English will feel more natural, and you'll be ready to speak to real people. Part 6. Writing, small notes, big progress. Writing is another great way to build your English environment, and you don't need to write long essays. You can write small, simple things every day, a shopping list, a reminder, a short journal entry. Writing helps you remember words and phrases, and it makes you think carefully about how to put sentences together. Take my student Zhao Jia, for example. Zhao Jia is a college student who is bad at writing English. She said, I can never remember the right words, and my sentences are always wrong. I told her to start writing small things. First a shopping list, then a to-do list, then a 3-sentence journal. Zhao Jia started with a shopping list. She wrote eggs, bread, milk, low fat, apples, tomatoes. She didn't worry about grammar. She just wrote the words. The next day, she made a to-do list. 1. Go to class at 9 a.m. 2. Buy books at the library. 3. Call my mom. 4. Study English for 30 minutes. After a week, she started writing a 3-sentence journal every night. She wrote, Today I had a math test. It was hard, but I tried my best. I ate dinner with my roommate. The next night, I went to the park with my friends. We walked and talked. The weather was nice. At first, Zhao Jia made mistakes. She wrote, I eat dinner with my roommate instead of I ate dinner, and the weather is nice instead of the weather was nice. But she didn't get upset. She just corrected herself the next time. After a month, her sentences got longer and more accurate. She wrote, Today I went to a concert with my roommate. The music was amazing, and we took lots of photos. I felt very happy. Zhao Jia also started writing small notes to herself. She put a note on her fridge. Don't forget to buy milk. She put a note on her phone. Study English at 7 p.m. She even wrote a note to her roommate. I borrowed your pen. Thank you. Her roommate, who was from the U.S., laughed and said, Your English is getting better. I can understand everything. Writing small things is great because it's low pressure. You don't need to spend hours on it. You can write a shopping list in 2 minutes or a journal entry in 5. It helps you use the words you've learned, like low fat from your milk label or concert from a poster, and it makes you more comfortable with English sentences. You can try this too. Write a shopping list before you go to the supermarket. Write a to-do list when you wake up. Write a short journal entry before bed. Write notes to yourself or to your family if they don't mind. The more you write, the easier it will get, and the more confident you'll feel when you need to write longer things, like an email or a message to a foreign friend. Part 7. Using media to make English feel like fun. Media, movies, TV shows, YouTube videos, music is one of the best tools to create an English environment. Why? Because it's fun. When you watch or listen to something you enjoy, you'll forget you're learning English. You'll just be enjoying the content. Let's talk about my student Lu Hao. Lu Hao loves basketball. He plays it every weekend, and he's a big fan of the NBA. But he used to watch NBA games in his native language. One day, I told him to try watching a game in English, with Chinese subtitles at first. He was hesitant. He thought he wouldn't understand. But he tried it, and he loved it. At first, Lu Hao only understood simple words: basket, score, win. But he heard other words over and over. Dunk, when a player jumps and puts the ball in the hoop. Assist, when a player helps a teammate score. Foul, when a player breaks the rules. He started looking up these words, and soon he could follow the commentary. He even started using the words when he played basketball with his friends. Nice assist, or that was a great dunk. Luhao didn't stop there. He started watching YouTube videos about basketball in English, videos where players talked about their training or fans talked about games. He watched short clips, 5 to 10 minutes, so he wouldn't get tired. After a month, he could watch the videos without subtitles. He said, I don't even think about English anymore. I'm just watching about basketball. You can do this with any media you like. If you love cooking, watch English cooking videos like Jamie Oliver's short recipes. If you love travel, watch English travel vlogs like people visiting Paris or Tokyo. If you love music, watch English music videos. You can read the lyrics while you listen, which helps you learn new words. Here's a tip. Start with subtitles in your native language, then switch to English subtitles, then turn subtitles off completely. This way, you're gradually getting used to understanding English without help. My student Xiao Qian did this with her favorite TV show, Friends. She started with Chinese subtitles, then English subtitles, and after 3 months, she could watch an episode without any subtitles. She said, I know all the characters now, and I even laugh at the jokes in English. Media is great because it lets you learn real English, the kind native speakers use every day. You'll hear casual phrases, slang, and jokes that you won't find in textbooks. And because you're watching something you love, you'll want to keep doing it, even when you're tired or busy. Part 8. Connecting with people, even without native speakers around. You might think, I don't live in an English-speaking country, so I can't talk to real people in English. But that's not true. Thanks to the internet, you can connect with English learners and native speakers from all over the world, right from your phone or computer. Take my student Huang Xiao, for example. Huang Xiao lives in a small town in Sichuan, where there are almost no foreign visitors. She wanted to practice speaking English, but she didn't know anyone who spoke it. So she downloaded a language exchange app. There are many free ones, like Tandem or HelloTalk. On the app, she met Emma, a 22-year-old from Canada who wanted to learn Chinese. They agreed to chat for 10 minutes every day, 5 minutes in English, so Huang Xiao could practice, and 5 minutes in Chinese, so Emma could practice. At first, Huang Xiao was nervous. She only said short sentences. Hello. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. What's the weather like in Canada? But Emma was patient. She asked Huang Xiao questions. What do you like to do in your free time? Do you have any hobbies? Huang Xiao started talking about her love of painting, and soon their chats got longer. She said, Emma doesn't care if I make mistakes. She just wants to talk. After 2 months, Huang Xiao could chat in English for 20 minutes. She talked about her day, her paintings, and her plans for the future. She even learned about Canadian culture. Emma told her about snow days and maple syrup. Huang Xiao said, I used to think speaking English was scary. Now it's just a chat with a friend. You don't have to use language exchange apps. You can join online English communities, Facebook groups for English learners, Reddit forums, or even WeChat groups where people practice English. You can write posts like, Today I cooked noodles. What did you eat? Or reply to other people's posts. You can even join online events like English book clubs or conversation hours, where you can talk to people via video call. My friend Lynn Tao joined an online English book club. They read a short story every month and then discussed it via Zoom. At first, Lin Tao only listened, but after a few weeks, he started sharing his thoughts. I liked the main character because he was brave. The ending made me happy. The other members were from all over the world: India, Brazil, Japan, and they all encouraged each other. Lin Tao said, "It's not about being perfect. It's about sharing ideas. Connecting with people is important because it lets you use English in real conversations. You'll learn how to ask questions, how to respond to others, and how to talk about your interests. And you'll make friends from different countries, something that makes learning English even more fun." Part 9, Building Habits, the key to long-term success. All the tips we've talked about today, changing your phone language, listening to podcasts, reading labels, speaking to yourself, writing notes, watching media, connecting with people, are great. But they won't work if you don't do them consistently. The most important part of creating an English environment is building small, daily habits that you can keep doing for months and years. Let's talk about my student Jolyn. Jolyn is a busy office worker. She wakes up at 7 a.m., works from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and has dinner with her family at 7 p.m. She doesn't have time for long study sessions, so she built 4 small English habits. Morning, 10 minutes, she listens to a short English podcast, like BBC 6-Minute English, while she brushes her teeth and makes breakfast. Lunch, 5 minutes, she reads one short English article from a learner-friendly website like VOA Learning English while she eats lunch. Evening, 5 minutes, she writes 3 sentences in her English journal before bed about her day, her feelings, or her plans. Before bed, 10 minutes, she watches one short English YouTube video about fashion, her favorite hobby, before she goes to sleep. These habits are small, only 30 minutes total a day, but Jolyn does them every day. At first, she forgot sometimes, but she set reminders on her phone. Podcast at 7:15 a.m. Read article at 12:30 p.m. She also told her family about her habits, so they would support her. Her husband even started asking, "Did you do your English journal tonight?" After 3 months, Jolyn saw a big difference. She could understand most of the podcast without looking at the transcript. She could read the article quickly without looking up many words. She could write longer sentences in her journal, and she even started using new words like trendy from her fashion videos. She said, "I didn't do anything big. I just did a little bit every day, but it added up." The key to building habits is to make them small and specific. Don't say, "I'll study English every day." Say, "I'll listen to 10 minutes of English while I commute." Don't say, "I'll read English every day." Say, "I'll read one English headline while I drink my morning coffee." Small habits are easy to start and easy to keep doing. If you miss a day, don't worry. Everyone misses days sometimes. The important thing is to get back to your habit the next day. As Jolyn said, it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Conclusion. Today, we've talked about how to create an English environment in your daily life. We started with why an English environment matters, because it lets you learn English naturally without trying. We then talked about 8 practical ways to build your environment. Transforming your phone and computer into English tools. Filling your ears with English during dead time. Reading small, everyday things, labels, headlines, menus. Speaking to yourself to build confidence and think in English. Writing small notes, lists, and journal entries. Using media, movies, videos, music that you enjoy. Connecting with people online, even if you're not in an English-speaking country. Building small, daily habits that you can keep doing. Remember, You don't need a perfect environment to learn English. You don't need to live abroad, and you don't need native speakers around you. All you need is to turn your ordinary daily moments into English moments. When you wake up, check your phone in English. When you cook, listen to a podcast in English. When you eat, read a label in English. When you go to bed, write a journal entry in English. Let's go back to Lily, the student I talked about at the beginning. After 6 months of building her English environment, Lily had a big change. She met a foreign tourist who asked for directions to the museum. This time, she didn't freeze. She smiled and said, "Go straight for 2 blocks, then turn left. The museum is on your right." The tourist said, "Thank you so much," and Lily felt proud. Later, she told me, "English isn't a class anymore. It's just part of my life." That's the goal, to make English feel like a friend, not a subject. It won't happen overnight. It will take time, and you'll make mistakes. But every small step you take, every podcast you listen to, every label you read, every sentence you write will bring you closer to that goal. So start today. Pick one small habit, like switching your phone language to English, and do it right now. Then pick another one tomorrow. Keep going, and soon you'll look back and realize that English has become a natural part of your daily life. Thank you for joining today's session. I hope you're excited to build your own English environment. Remember, fluency isn't about magic, it's about consistency. Keep practicing, keep learning, and soon English will feel like home.